when we think about faculty effort, we have to think in terms of their appointment. Individuals might think that their salary is based on an hourly wage. When it comes to appointments at a university, it's based on your role, on the responsibilities within your role to the institution. A typical faculty contract might include some research responsibilities as well as teaching, service. Maybe there's an administrative role. Maybe they have a department chair role or a clinical role. All of those factors are elements of the overall pie of their job, and different portions of that pie need to be reserved for that job of their role. So there may be limitations on how much research how many calendar months they can actually commit to research, because they're overcommitted, they're committed in other areas. And that's what needs to be considered when you think about which piece of this pie we can commit to the project. When it comes to base salary, this also includes any raises. So even if the dollar amount goes up, it's still 100% that you're dealing with. That base salary covers 100%. Even if you go up 3%, that's still part of that 100% of the base salary, and whatever 12 months you have you have to commit out. If you have a salary cap, we haven't written that down here, but the NIH salary cap sort of touches on this. If you want to commit 5% of a researcher's time to a project, 5% is 5% and it's committed to that sponsor. If NIH sets the total salary base you can use to calculate their time on the project, and say they earn well over the NIH salary cap, you still got to commit that 5%, whether the sponsor can cover that entire 5% or not. So it's sort of a unspoken mandatory cost share, but the fact that it's 5% is still the same. And that allows you to better track who is paying what in terms of that PI's time. They still have to report 5%.
And they still have to secure that 5% off the books. And we talked when we were preparing for this about the fact that a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of tools out there, and institutions use different tools and different tracking systems. And when you have people who have other appointments in other places, say that they have another, like a VA appointment, or they have an appointment in a secondary institution, they're probably keeping that pie. So then the person has really two pies. And so how much is in this pie and how much is in this pie? And I love pie because it's always easy. First of all, it's delicious. And it's always nice to talk about pizza or pie because everybody gets it. And it's easy to say. You can have a cherry pie and a pepperoni pie, and they can have as many cherries and as many pepperonis in it, but you still only have that single pie. And that can only be divided as many times as you want to divide it. And you have to reserve so that 5% piece. You know, if your PI is, you know, a fully 100%, you know, over the salary cap, that 5% is 2.5%. But that 2.5%, that still has to be on that project, and it cannot be paid from any other federal source. It can't be covered from anywhere else that would create a conflict. And the problem is our systems, it's garbage in, garbage out. So if you're not putting the good information in, if you're not managing the information well, you can end up with a whole mess that has to be untangled.
One of the reasons, among the reasons why I'm glad I don't work in an academic medical center anymore, is in addition to your university appointment, you had the VA appointment, and the third pie was your private practice.
Yes.
And these are all very fungible. And if I'm doing rounds with medical students, am I teaching? If they are seeing patients who are on the clinical trial that I am running, are they part of the grant funded? That is, you probably have, if you're at an academic medical center, you probably have internally your own sort of rules of the road for how you, you know, split that up. And so, you know, follow whatever those rules are, but they, it can be wicked confusing.
And you have to understand it because a lot of times the faculty don't, and you may be the one to help them figure it all out.
Right.
Right. You are the resident expert. That is my platform is we are the experts. Don't let the PI tell you. You have to know. You have to be the one who tells them, you know, advises them about the best path, because you know all of those regulations that outline the blueprint.
Oh, I was just saying, and you work very closely with more than one accounting office, because if their university effort increases because they're funded off of a grant that comes into the university, it could be that their private practice effort decreases. So you have to make sure that that handoff, that discussion is going on between those two paymasters to make sure that somebody isn't making more than 100% of their salary.
Fair
Right.
point.
And
That
then